Somebody said recently on a dialogue, and it hit me. They said they weren't supporting the administration because they necessarily agreed with him or liked him. They were supporting it because he was a fighter. And what I heard was someone was willing to make some change, albeit it's uneven, and you've heard me say this before, that economists call this creative destruction. So can it be couched in a way that it's change and uncomfortable?
Well, I think, everybody likes a fighter. I want one who's decided not to punch everybody in the face and just the ones that he's aiming at. And so if we need some destruction or we needed some investigation on how to make things better, those can be done intentionally, can be done thoughtfully. We can attack and fight, but let's be a little more cautious and careful. Some people say, well, the wind is all blowing, but at some point it'll settle. Western North Carolina tells you when it settles, there's a wreck. And how do you put things back together? So there's this blustering storm. I just wish that we were more thoughtful, careful about where we're trying to find our waste, fraud, and abuse, or where we're trying to make reform.
Is this going to last the whole year? Is this kind of uncertainty going to last a whole year?
I think it may last 4 years. Because I think the strategy for some in Washington is to put down a marker that will withstand the leader who's leading the mark, if you will. All fights are not good fights. And I think that whether you agree with the previous administration or not, the economy was humming pretty good. Most people, while it wasn't perfect, but they were better than they were during COVID. Now we're getting to a situation where you pull back grants on clean energy, businesses will not come. Jobs will not come. The planning for that, all those things have impact. You start making tariffs conversations, the cost has to be passed down to you, me, and everyone else. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Forget about trying to make ends meet. People are putting two ends together, hoping to meet. So if they're paying higher prices for gas, goods, and services, that's going to be consequential for a lot of people.
Well, Chris, I want to distinguish between one is that one of the fights is that the 2017 tax cuts expire this year. And if they aren't renewed, then that means taxes will go up for a lot of businesses, a lot of communities, and so forth. And that's one thing the business community is fighting on, just to keep that baseline. If that baseline requires all these substantial cuts, that's another story. What people, not insiders, we're the insider panel, but let's talk about people who don't feel as much connected. They're thinking some of the stuff they read about seems silly to them and seems frivolous. Right. Now, the problem is that the real meat of it, the stuff that we've been talking about previously, and Antjuan was focusing on, hasn't hit yet. And all of a sudden, that's a different color. So the kind of these headline grabbing kind of examples that seem frivolous versus the real meat and potatoes and have not hit yet.
Yeah. But I want to go back to this point about the fighter, right? Why did we want a fighter? Because we were discontent, right?
That's a good question.
There was a desire, exactly. There was a desire for a fighter, and I think you brought up that university administrative overhead. You expose that, you look under the hood, and there are a lot of people who are mad, who are saying that's a lot of my money, right? And what is it paying for? There are people who call for public services and have to be put on hold for 20 minutes, and that's their whole lunch break because they're working people, right? So we have to go to the core of it and say, do we slash and burn, or do we surgically remove the parts that are not working and fix it? And I would say effectiveness, a responsive government over an efficient government any day.
But